Hi, I'm Violet and welcome to my first video. Today I want to show you how I draw characters without looking at a reference. Since we don't have a reference, the first thing we need to do is sketch. Sketching is important because it lets us visualize what our character will look like before we can finalize the drawing. First off, we're going to start with a fairly generic female structure. You should start with drawing a circle to get the shape of the head, and then one line vertically down in the middle of the circle to get the line of symmetry, or basically the middle of the head. And another horizontal line, which is also in the middle of the circle, to note where the eyes will be. And then I will draw two vertical lines which are fairly curved on each side of the circle, and then another two lines continuing from that line to make the chin, which is usually a bit shorter to make it more feminine and cute. Because if the chin is longer and sharper, it looks a bit more masculine. And then you have the basic shape of the face. Then we can move on to draw the eyes. The eyes can determine the personality of the character. For example, small sharp eyes can be a cold character, whereas large round eyes can make a character seem more bubbly. I want my person to look a little smart and maybe a little bit sneaky. This means I need to draw longer pointed eyes. You should look at some eye references to find out what type of eyes you want to draw. For any eyes, I usually draw two long wings at the horizontal line. As I said, mine is going to be quite long as I'm trying to make my character look a little sass. Then you need to draw a half oval to make the shape of the eye, and in the center, draw a circle. It doesn't really need to be the exact shape of the circle. You can make it any sort of interesting shape that you want. Next, we can move on to sketching the nose. Some artists don't really draw a nose, they just draw a line and they don't really make the nose very defined. You can draw a circle at the side or the middle of the nose for the area of which the light hits the nose. A lot of anime lips which are drawn look sort of the same, so I want to draw mine a little bit different. I'm going to sketch a parted smile. To draw the lips, I usually draw a small upward semicircle that people have in the middle of their top lip. Parted lips look almost like a diamond, so we can roughly sketch out a diamond shape which is curved. The rest of the lip will be drawn in the shading. Hair is the most important part of the character in my opinion. Whilst you can draw all the other features fairly the same, the hair is the most defining part of an anime character's head. To draw the hair, you might want to Google some nice hairstyles. I'm going to try and do a hairstyle my mom did for me when I was little. Don't be afraid to experiment and try to draw any hairstyle, because hair is messy and random and it's not supposed to be perfect, as long as it looks alright. I'm drawing my hair to flow nicely in the wind because I think it'll look nice. Although I said not to be afraid, even though it's just a sketch, it's important to have the basic shape look good. Otherwise the final result won't look as great, as it's pretty much all based on sketch. So keep working on it till you like it. The body also starts out pretty generic. We first need to start with the neck. The neck is just two lines downwards from the head, which then curves out to make the shoulders. Well, this is how I do it. You can do it any different way. I want my character to look a little fancy, so I'm going to give her a poofy dress. Baggy clothes always look super nice in drawings. To draw a dress, you need to follow the rough shape of the body. Since it's a dress, some areas will be a little tighter than others, so they'll have more bumps and curves, such as the shoulders and the waist. But other areas like the gown should have longer lines. You can add extra lines to accentuate some of the curves. Then onto the line art. If your sketching looks decent, you don't really need to do the line art. I don't really like to do it. For this drawing, I only needed to erase the messy parts and make some lines bolder. For line art, I usually make the area where there are like two lines touching a bit bolder and thicker, as well as any angles or sharp turns. So it gives it a bit of texture, and I think it looked quite nice. As you move on to colouring in, there isn't any big specifics. Just choose any colour which you believe will suit your character. For mine, I chose purple for both the hair and the clothes. Shading. Shading is always the most fun and difficult part for me. I was never really sure how to shade and which color to choose, but nowadays to shade, I just use the eyedropper tool to select the same color as the area I'm going to shade, and then change the brightness and the hue a little bit to create a nice color to shade with. I use the darker color of the hair to shade it in a circular shape. I also drew in a few Z's at random areas to give the actual effect of hair, and I used a lighter purple to draw random strands of hair as well as to create some formatted zigzags to make the hair seem shiny. For the clothing, I shaded with a darker color of the base and basically made flat solid shapes that fit into the areas of the folding of the clothing, and did the same with a lighter color, but in a different area, of which they do not overlap. The lighter color will be where the light hits it, and the darker where the shadows are of the clothing. Then I blended the two colors together to make it look a bit more natural and lowered the opacity, which you don't really need to do if you're already satisfied with the results. Finally, the eyes. For the eyes, it's always best to use a darker color and then on top of it, a lighter color. It can be a completely different color or the exact same, just a little lighter. To make a shiny effect, I drew a few small circles at the bottom of the eye and then added some white shiny circles around it to make it look sparkly. And then you're finally finished. I hope you like the result, and if you have any tips, feel free to let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching!